All right, Tucker Carlson is claiming, sorry, correction. Ted Cruz is claiming Tucker Carlson is going down the path of communism for his position in Israel and will end up like Zoran Mandani. Listen, there's a lot of things I disagree with Tucker Carlson on, probably, but it's things I will agree with him on, you know. But defending Tucker Carlson right here was not on my bingo card. But the last person in the world who ever will walk down the path of communism is Tucker Carlson, okay? He's not going to walk down communism, the path of communism. Tucker Carlson, the off chance you watch this, somebody should clip this. Tucker, you will never walk down the path of communism, Leninism, Marxism, socialism, democratic socialism. You're not going to do any of that. Why? Because I've been watching you and following your content for quite some time. The last person in the world who's going to do that is going to be Tucker Carlson. You're not, no, never, buddy. No, boom, never. Well, gee, someone on the left just told me I can't walk down the path of communism. Is the left saying that I can't be a communist? All right, that's a terrible Tucker Carlson impression. Sorry about that. But it's very odd. In this conversation with Stephen A. Smith, Ted Cruz is basically saying that Tucker Carlson is walking on the path of anti-Semitism, and anti-capitalism, anti-Americanism. I think questioning, the overall crisis in Gaza is the right thing to do because, men, women, children are starving, getting blown up. International forces are possibly set to be a peacekeeping force in Gaza. Okay, that's happening. But, Tucker being anti-capitalist and anti-American, that ain't gonna happen. That's not happening. That's never gonna happen, period. So questioning things is what anyone should do, especially in the space for independent media, commentary, all of that. And I know there's bigger channels with millions and millions of subscribers, but even if you're doing social commentary, you do have to question things. Yes, we all have our biases, perspectives, and points of view, but I found this conversation to be just so odd. It's weird. And there's a reason why. I have a theory. Not a game theory, but a theory about why Ted Cruz is saying this, because I think he's still butthurt what happened a couple of months ago.
Here's what I wanted to bring up to you because I'm very uncomfortable. This is not about you. I'm very uncomfortable with things that I've seen from Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Some of the verbiage, a recent interview with Nick Fuentes.
Yeah. Okay, so he had an interview with Nick Fuentes. I don't care. Look, I mean, that happens. In this space of social media, sometimes your favorite podcaster show will interview someone that's controversial. I mean, I hate to break down the bare bones of the game of social media and content creation, but when you're doing interviews or podcasts or anything of that nature, one thing that brings in the views is controversy. But I don't think Tucker is walking on that path of communism, socialism, anti-Americanism anytime soon. He ain't doing that.
Some of the things that have been said, and we don't have time to get into the specifics per se, but it was very uncomfortable to listen to some of the stuff they've said about race, some of the stuff that was
Mastermind. Do not disrespect our great prophet Cat Williams by comparing him to Stephen Smith. Okay, we don't do that here. We don't do that here to the prophet. Not on my watch, Mastermind. I love you, man.
Articulated about the Jewish community or whatever. And you made news because of an interview you had with Tucker Carlson months ago, whenever that was. I want to know, what are your feelings about the state of this country, the climate, particularly when you see the kind of rhetoric that he's been tackling?
Listen, Stephen, you and I are on exactly the same page on this. And look, I look at it, the question of anti-Semitism. I think 10 years ago in the Democrat Party, you started to see an anti-Semitism rise. And a lot of the Democrat leaders looked the other way. They hoped it would go away. And I think it's all but taken over their party. And Mondami's a good example of just how extreme that can get. It's also happening on the Republican side. And in the last 6 months, I've seen more.
Commercial that says, "Oh, please, show me Ted Cruz's face. That's what I need in the morning. Hey, here, let's zoom it in closer. Why don't you?" All right. Kid, how could you do that? I'm unsubscribing. This is violence.
more anti-Semitism on the right than any time in my life. And it is wrong. And from my perspective, I'm going to do everything I can to stop it. I think Tucker is dangerous. I think what he's saying is wrong. And I'm calling him out. And I'm calling him out over and over and over again. When you have goose-stepping Nazis on your program, when you have a professor who says, gosh, I think Winston Churchill is the villain of World War II, when you have another professor who says there's a good argument America should have supported the Nazis in World War II. No, there's not, and that's garbage. And Tucker,
I'm willing to bet that there's things being taken out of context here, but I don't know. I count past 10 of numerous other podcasters that had controversial people, not including Joe Rogan himself, but there's been numerous times this has happened. And I think things are kind of getting out of pocket here, because what I'm afraid of, especially what's going to be happening with social media like X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You know, there's going to be a tone police. And if you thought it was bad during the Biden-Harris administration, it's going to get a little worse for wear. But again, you're making an accusation that Tucker is anti-capitalist, anti-American, anti-communist because of people he's had on the show. You know, I remember when Tucker Carlson was on Fox News, and he had Cornel West, Jimmy Dore, and a couple of other high-level progressives and independents on his show too. That make him a communist? No. Dare I say it, you know, it's very interesting to see somebody have a show like that. And, you know, again, in the realm of show business, because there's no business like show business, you got to have a little spicy controversy. The fact that you got me saying that says how either brain dead Ted Cruz is, or they're just trying to stir things up to what? Do a little cancel culture on Tucker? Huh. That never works out well.
Tucker's gone down a very dark path. And I don't want to wake up in 5 years and see the Republican Party have gone down the path of the Democrats. If we have a country where both parties...
They ain't ever going to... Listen. Oil and water will mix better before a Republican Party ever goes communist.
...are viciously anti-Israel and welcoming and even celebrating of anti-Semitism. That is an ugly place. And one of the things... when you go down the road of anti-Semitism, it very quickly leads you to anti-capitalism and anti-Americanism. And Mondami is a good example of that, where he's an Islamist, but he's also a socialist. And you look at Tucker. Tucker's going down that road, too, in a way that I think is very dangerous. So at least on my end, and I'm encouraging other Republicans, stand up and reject this. If you are a bigot, if you are a Klansman, if you are a Nazi, you got no business in the Republican Party, and we don't want you, and I don't think you should be.
Look, I'm just going to say something here that's so brave yet controversial. You know, even before the rise of the internet, before social media, you know, in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you do realize that there were Klansmen and other horrible people in the Democrat Party and Republican Party. You know, there were a lot of Republicans who were against desegregation and busing, including some Democrats. It's kind of like almost they were always there. You can't just wipe the slate clean and be like, that was never there in the first place. There is no war in bossing, say. Right? There is no fifth chaos god. I had to drop my Warhammer 40K reference. You know I had to do it.
Welcome to neither party, because I think our country was built on equal rights for everybody.
Well, it took us a while to get there, honey child. Took us a while to get there. But I think there's a reason why Ted Cruz is saying this, because I think he's still reeling from what happened in the sweet summer of 2025. What happened in the summer of 2025?
Worked every day to do.
Right. But, you know, look, the American people, you know what we need? Investment in our infrastructure. Roads, bridges, water pipelines, you know, with not lead or chemicals in it. Investing in our schools, into our economy. Maybe having a true peacetime where the United States is not involved in any foreign wars. Kit, stop. Come back to reality. You know that world will never exist. I know. Because we have a system of absolute corruption. If only Aurelian was not betrayed, the timeline would be better. I have to add in some humor to this story because this is ridiculous. Tucker, a communist. Tucker, anti-capitalist. Tucker, anti-American. What? Listen. Even that face right there, pausing, was Tucker. That's like, what? Like, no, seriously, what? Hold on, it gets better.
Do that.
Remember, Thomas Massey once said, everybody has an APAC, a babysitter. By the way, Dr. Nick, if you're watching, you got to send me that ABBA and Peach. ABBA and Preach. Don't use that against ABBA and Preach, not ABBA and Peach. ABBA and Preach. Video, because apparently you're saying it's something worth to watch. So send it to me, DM me that video, and I'll watch it. I was busy yesterday.
What APAC does, my understanding, having known a lot of people
I
who
can
went
tell
to
you,
AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's
Unless there's a 51st state that's been added, I think it is a foreign country. I don't know. We only got 50 states here, my lovelies, and some U.S. territories here and there. None of them got statehood, and no, Greenland will not become the 51st state, and neither will Canada. We love you guys, but no, come on. Do you really want to be part of this madhouse? You want to be part of this madhouse, Greenland, Canada? The answer is no. Give us your health care. Give us your health care. But there's a little bit more to this. Perhaps more reasons why Ted Cruz was making the statement of Tucker being, what, anti-Semitic now? Because he made this. This is what I think. This is what I think.
I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about politics.
And every time Ted Cruz also talks, this is what I also think.
And here's what I think about it.
OG Molten 1, perhaps YouTube didn't tell this to you, but in the summer, we actually did commentary on this. Oh, how I wish all my subscribers were notified when we do our live stream or our videos. It's like they're hiding everyone. So many channels, but which, by the way, please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and comment, because it does count for a view. It does boost up the algorithm and rhyme. But this was done last summer, or this summer of 2025. It happened just a few months ago. Kid, that's impossible. I know. It's like there's a blurring effect. Am I going crazy? Don't worry, folks. I'll be going crazy very, very soon. The online crazy meltdown will be happening. It'll be happening. But it happened, OG Molten 1. It happened. We're all stuck with it.
Sleazy feline way implying it.
I think it's sleazy feline. So let's be clear.
It's sleazy to imply.
Sleazy feline? That's an insult to felines. Tucker, be better than that, man. Come on. I got people who own cats who watch this show. Do not insult the feline community. But, sleazy feline and calling someone anti-Semitic, I mean, that's a pretty bold mastermind. I love you, man. You've been such a great friend to this show. You crack me up 24/7. And when I do this show, I look forward to your words. But get up and go see the White House counselor right now. Interesting.